We get a lot of questions in our practice about estate planning, and the most common one is, should I have a trust? Should I have a living trust? And we've heard these terms, and sometimes they're confusing to people. And I can tell you, if there's a few times when you should be thinking that you should have a living trust, and basically these are the main situations I see where it really should be done. The first is if you have perhaps a second or third marriage, and you and your spouse have children from different marriages, and you'd like to make some arrangements upon your death for how those assets would be distributed. That can get complicated, and a living trust could be a good idea for you. Another one is where perhaps you're getting on in years and there's a concern that, well, what if someone gets incapacitated, Alzheimer's, and they're not able to take care of their affairs, and you want to avoid costly court proceedings to deal with that situation. A living trust can be very helpful because before something happens or some sort of disability occurs, you've already made plans about who's going to handle your finances once that event happens. This is extremely important where perhaps you're a widow or widower and you want to make arrangements for what happens should you become disabled or not able to take care of your finances. This is very important. A living trust can really help you with this. Another question we often get is, who should I pick to be the trustee of my trust? Who should I put in charge? Who should be the executor of my will? And most people think that it would be a good idea to maybe select one of their children. And maybe, to be fair to them, maybe we'll put two of them on there. They can be co-executors or co-trustees because we don't want to offend anybody and we want to let them know that they're of equal importance to us. Perhaps it would be your spouse. Well, what if your spouse is not there and you need to have a trustee? Let's face it, there are a lot of problems that come up when people die and there's perhaps financial matters to be taken care of. The last thing you want to leave behind for your beneficiaries is conflict or strife or other issues with your family. This is why we'll often recommend using a professional fiduciary. Okay, what is that? It's someone that is in the business of, that in some cases we've worked with these people, who is licensed and bonded and responsible, and they can act as your trustee to pass out the money and to deal with property issues after you are gone. This actually takes a huge burden off of your beneficiaries. I've handled many trust cases after someone has died, and there's a tremendous amount of stress that is put on the family. It's very difficult to be grieving the loss of a parent or loved one and be saddled with the responsibility of dealing with finances and other complicated legal issues. There's also situations where perhaps there are children that are not terribly responsible with money. Here's where you'd like to have a professional in there. It doesn't cost a lot of money. Now, you've worked very hard for what you have. It's very worthwhile to look into this.